It's part 2. So starting off with the second tab, go ahead and copy that down. And this rule says that if you're starting off with the same, so if they share the same intercepted arc and they're an inscribed angle, then they're going to be equal. That's the rule. So if you take your intercepted arc and you curve your fingers to the inscribed angle, that is the same. And if you can do the same thing to the other side, starting at the same intercepted arc and going to the inscribed angle, then those two inscribed angles are the same. So I can even do it a third time. Those inscribed angles are the same. And that makes sense because we know an inscribed angle is half the intercepted arc. So it doesn't matter where we're inscribing the angle, as long as it's the inscribed angle from the same intercepted arc, it's going to be the same, which is half the intercepted arc. So angle C is equal to angle B. Oh, I forgot to put these letters on there, so go ahead and label A, B. This is a listening check. Color in X, X, and a half X. So let's take a look at what some examples would look like for that. So what do we just say? That if they share the same intercepted arc, the inscribed angles are the same. So those two angles have to be the same. So how do I set them up? Set them equal to each other. 3x plus 7 is equal to 6x minus 1. Boxes and circles, and solve the equation. This is a listening check. Put a box around example 3. So we're going to subtract 7 to both sides and subtract 6x. So that's from negative 3x is equal to negative 8. Divide both sides by negative 3. X is equal to positive 8 over 3. Take a look at another example. So this time we're given the intercepted arc and one of the inscribed angles. So remember, the intercepted arc is twice as big as the inscribed angle. Twice as big as the inscribed angle. So therefore that means the other inscribed angle is going to be a half of the intercepted arc. So half of 5x plus 60. A half, because they share the same intercepted arc. That was from the beginning rule, that the inscribed angle is half the intercepted arc. So now what do we know about the two inscribed angles? They're the same. So set up the two equations equal to each other. Alright, then what can we do? We can get rid of that half by multiplying everything by 2. So we're going to multiply left by 2 and the right by 2. We'll put parentheses. So those cancel out. So now I'm just going to have 1 times 5x, 1 times positive 60 equals 2 times 3x, 2 times 25. Boxes and circles. I can move 5x to the other side, negative 5x, move positive 50 to the other side, and combine like terms. X is 10. Alright, let's go ahead and plug it in. 3 times 10 is 30 plus 25 is 55. 5 times 10 is 50 plus 60 is 110 times a half is 55. 5 times 10 is 50 plus 60 is 110. And that makes sense because those are both half of the intercepted arc of 110. Alright, the next rule says that if you have a diameter, it has to be a diameter, and you draw an inscribed angle on that diameter, that is going to be 90 degrees. But it has to be the diameter, meaning it has to go through the center of the circle. Alright, any inscribed angle is going to be 90 degrees. Alright, so let's take a look at an example. Alright, so that's a diameter and an inscribed angle, so that has to be 90 degrees. That's the rule we just learned. And then what else do I know? Okay, so I've got an intercepted arc. This is a listening check. Color in find X. I've got an intercepted arc of 120. Those are my 2 points. So that means from that same place, if I make an inscribed angle, it's going to be half of 120. So if I take my fingers and join those 2 dots, inscribed angle is going to be half of 120. So that's going to be 60. And then what do I know? A triangle adds up to 180. So 180 minus 60 minus the 90 I found is going to give me the X I'm looking for. This is a listening check. Put a box around X equals 50, which is equal to 50. So all these rules are going to combine. So it's very, very important that you watch this video very carefully. Another example, so there is my diameter. It makes a 90 with any inscribed angle using the diameter. So that's 90. And then if I take my inscribed angle, those are going to be the same. That was from the previous rule. So my 2 inscribed angles using the same beginning point, those are going to be equal. So that's 50. The other part is also going to be 50. And then this is a triangle. And a triangle always adds up to 180. So all of that's going to add up to 180. So 180 minus the 50 minus the 90 is going to give me X. This is a listening check. Go ahead and circle example 6. So X equals 40. Alright, final tab, a quadrilateral inscribed. says that opposite angles, not opposite, yeah, it is opposite. Opposite angles add up to 180. So those two angles add up to 180. Alright, so if we take a look at an example, we know that angles opposite are going to add up to 180. So that right there is going to add up to 180. So 180 minus 110 is going to give me 70. And basically with these questions, you just fill out whatever you can until you get the answer. Alright, so that's 70. Okay, then I've got an inscribed angle, right? Because it's an angle on the vertex. So from that has to be twice 70. You know, remember an inscribed angle and to the intercepted arc is twice the inscribed angle. So twice 70 is going to be from G to M, GAM. So that's going to be all of that. It's going to be 140 because it has to be twice 70. And then what we're saying is then is that GAM is the same as saying 50 plus 30x. Right? 50 plus 30x, because that's already there. Which, if 50 plus 30x, and we're saying that the whole thing has to be 140, then those two things have to be equal to each other. So 50 plus 30x has to equal 140. Then boxes and circles, move the 50 to the other side, from subtract 50. Divide by 30. So x equals 3. This is a listening check. Color in x equals 3. Alright, so the new rule is opposite angles are 180 in any quadrilateral, any inscribed quadrilateral. It has to be inscribed there. Alright, let's take a look at the final example. Alright, so starting with our new rule, 180 minus that angle, and then as well for the other side. 180 minus 119, so that other side's going to be 61, and 180 minus 65, so that other side's going to be 150. Alright, what's the question actually? Oh, I didn't write it down. Alright, so let's write down the question. Find x. Alright, so what can we do? So basically with these things, there's no right answer, okay? You just gotta keep doing it until you get it. So let's try right here. Alright, that inscribed angle times 2 is gonna give me the intercepted arc. So 65 times 2 will give me where that red arc is, 122. And then I'm gonna draw another one and see if that helps me. So let me do from that point. So that inscribed angle from there all the way to there, that's going to give me, so that inscribed angle times 2 is going to give me that blue intercepted arc. So that's going to be 2 times 115 is going to give me that whole distance, which is, this is a listening check, put a box around example 8. 230. Now let's see what I can do. See, the blue line is, the whole blue line is 230, but from that place to the other side is 168. So this little difference has to be 230 minus 168 is going to give me this little part of the blue line, because 62 plus 168 is going to give me 230, because 230, remember, is the whole blue line. We'll do the same thing for the red line. The whole red line is 122, then that part of the red line is 62. So 122 minus 62 is going to give me what x is, which is 60. And that's it. So let's practice.